Well, it's a big welcome here to Hatherton Hall, Nantwich in Cheshire for this 1999 Wulfsport Twin Shock Grand Prix. And what a weekend of racing we have in store for you. Well, weather on Saturday was a little bit wet, but on the Friday night, with riders coming from all over the world, America, Sweden, Australia, just about everywhere, Holland, the Cumbria Club welcomes you to this Grand Prix. It's a concourse to bikes on Friday night. They lined up some of the nicest machines from yesteryear that you've ever seen. And of course, there was a whole heap of Makos amongst them. Bikes that have been lovingly restored, found in garages, farm sheds and God knows where else they've got these bikes from, but they've polished them and they've cleaned them, and look at this four-stroke Yamaha. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? That's going to be ridden by Phil Small in the international class. Look at it, polished all over. It won't be as clean as that when Phil's finished with it on Sunday night, I can assure you. Look at this for a gorgeous bit of kit, eh? The Hondas, the old air-cooled Hondas, the sort of bike that took Graham Noyce to his World Grand Prix Championship back in '79. And the Husqvarnas from Sweden weren't forgotten either. They were here, their twin shock bikes, very much evident. KTM from Austria, they weren't forgotten either. Mixture of air-cooleds and four-strokes. And those were the trophies that they were going for. And that was, of course, the best bike from Crooks and Company. That's Eddie Crooks Suzuki Company. Look at this for a Faber. You haven't seen one of those for a few years, have you? Four-stroke bike. I'm not sure what that engine is. Might be Triumph. Might be a Matchless, not sure. Bill Brown in the background there. There is Bill, the entrepreneur from Wulfsport, one of the judges. And look at this for a bike. It's a Bull Taco. Isn't that gorgeous? That many hours have been spent cleaning and polishing that bike for sure. It's just a shame to ride it and get it all dirty. It got first prize nevertheless, and so it should. It was beautiful, that bike was. Well, also here at Nantwich was VMX Vintage Motorcycle Magazine. They were on display and available for you to purchase. And all update. There's our second place bike in this concourse. Number 79 there. That's the maker of Graham Jennings from Ross-on-Wye. Another immaculately turned out bike. And Bill Brown about to hand over the trophy for our winning machine. Number 31, that Bull Taco. We're ridden tomorrow in the Prix 77 class by Jeff Arrowsmith. Lovely machine. Another trophy here for the Kawasaki. Just about the only one that was in the concourse as well, but it was well turned out. And here's another beautiful bike. That's one of Bill Brown's Makos. Loving care put into the restoration of these bikes. Sixth place for that machine there. The Yamaha, the four-stroker number 23, Phil Small. Fourth place for this bike, and that, of course, is number 96. And that's one of our Continental riders. And that will be in the hands tomorrow of Jan Hushen. So, as they made the final preparations before the start of racing here on the Saturday, it was a little wet, a little windy to say the least, and she wasn't at all bothered about the weather conditions. Well, we caught up with one of our celebrities who will be riding tomorrow in the over 50s class, DEP exhaustman Derek Elwell.
Yes, I got drawn back into this about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's good fun. It gets somewhat serious when the flag drops, but generally it's good fun, good social scene. Meet quite a few friends that I've known in the past, meet new friends, so really good, yeah.
I mean, this is the second year here at Nantwich for the Twin Shock Grand Prix. I mean, it's growing in stature, isn't it, and popularity?
Yes, it is, yes. The first year that I went to a Grand Prix status meeting was one at Farley Castle, which I thought was really good because I happen to like Farley Castle and associate it with twin shock bikes. But having come to Nantwich last year, I think the organisation, the track and the general scene is as good as you get anywhere. And this is the first day, so let's hope the weather is fine. Not too hot, but just right for spectators, and we all have a good day. And I think this is a #1 scene in the UK.
Well, great words there from Derek, the man that makes DEP exhaust. So race 1 here on the calendar, and it's the support class. As we look at some of the riders who make themselves ready for this first race, up goes the 15-second board, 5-second board, the gate drops. Not too many in the support class, but nevertheless out there to enjoy themselves. Looks like 166 there has got the whole shot. And that's, of course, Peter Lightfoot from Cumbria. So let's see who it is that leads them round for the first time. And it is, no, it's 168. And that's Darren Turnicliffe from Derbyshire. Darren going through there. You can see the track's a bit wet. Quite a bit of rain here. 122, that's our young man that has a habit of falling off that bike quite consistently. And that's, of course, Jeremy Smith. Let's hope he can stay on throughout the race. If there was a crash and burn award, Jeremy, I think, would have won it. 156 there, makes his way through a little gingerly. That's Steve Hodgson from Bradford. And they're all taking their time on the old bikes. And some of the gentlemen on the old bikes are almost as old as the machines that they're riding. So race leader, 168, Dave Turnicliffe from Derbyshire. He goes through. And 162 there behind him, that's David Todd from Kendal. As the rest filter through behind, cautiously taking it through. 283 there, and that, according to my programme, is Philip Parsons from Walsall. So this is number 64. Very gently picking his way around the corner there. That's Michael Freeman. And behind him, 283 then, our man that we just mentioned, Philip Parsons. 66. And that, of course, is our old friend, Darren Dursby. And Darren, of course, the man behind the Talking Point Twin Shock Series. One of the major sponsors. Darren does a great job and must be thanked for his involvement and his company's involvement. There's our old friend, 122, and as you can see, Jeremy Smith still a little unsteady on his wheels. He really did spend most of the weekend picking the bike up off the floor. So this looks like our race leader coming through. Indeed it is, 168, Dave Turnicliffe. There was no stopping this man, no stopping him whatsoever. He was out there racing for honours. And so was everyone else. Despite the age of the bikes and some of the riders, they were having a great deal of fun on the track here at Nantwich. As 162 there goes through, and that's of course David Todd chasing that rider in front. Another little battle going on here. Now we'll pick up the riders as they come through. There's one of them, 283 is the rider, Philip Parsons. Can't quite see who it is that was in front of him, but that's indeed 100. No, sorry, that's 66, not 166. That may just be the age of the bike. And that's, of course, Darren Dursby from Talking Point, enjoying himself nevertheless. That's the old Husqvarna of 156, ridden by Steve Hodgson from Bradford. So the Swedish machine. We saw that in the concourse on Friday. Well, here's the man that's taking the checkered flag. 168 there in his first race, Dave Turnicliffe. 221 chased him home in second place, with 162 coming home in third, David Todd. So there, the Enderfield sponsored support class, Paul Hurley taking him in from Todd, Mercer, Freeman and Steve Hodgson, rounding up the top six. Here we go, race two is our Prix 77 over 50s class. So that's Prix 77s and over 50s joined together in this race to make a good lineup. Bill Brown, of course, will be in this one, number 53, and we'll see how Bill gets on. There's one or two other, I won't say relics of yesteryear. 31, of course, that's the Bultaco that won the concourse on the Friday night. Beautiful bike there, ridden by Jeff Arrowsmith. The gate has dropped, here they come. Let's see if they all get safely through that first corner, and the answer to that is no. A little bit of over youthful enthusiasm there, I think, by someone. Let's see who's on the floor. Well, 33, that's Derek Elwell, I think, that's on the floor down there. Let's hope Derek's okay. He should be. And he gets away. Well, we caught up with the man behind this Twin Shock Grand Prix here at Nantwich. That's, of course, the man from Wulfsport International, Bill Brown.
Well, it's not just down to me, Ken. It's Darren Hudson and the Twin Shock Club at Barrow there. They're the main ones. But we all get together, get behind it, and I think we really enjoy it. We're happy with the way it's going. We're not happy with the weather at the moment. But the Nantwich club's helped us a lot. You know, everything's changed since we came to Nantwich here. We came last year the first time, as you said. We'd had a few goes before that, but it never really took shape. But this one, I mean, as you can see, just everything about it's manicured. The grasses, just the track is, you know, and it's just so nice to come here to ride at a well set up meeting.
And of course there's a tremendous international input to this event as well, isn't there?
Well, we like to give it a good international flavour. there's a lot of, I mean, there's quite a lot of this event. Obviously, is a trip down the time tunnel, and there's a lot of people that we've only even read about in the past. You know, the likes of Rich Eierstad here from America. We've brought him over. There's Jorgen Nielsen coming. There's Ivan van der Broek. There's so many people, but it's nice to see them ride. I mean, we said the same thing to them all. You're invited to ride. If you want to race, you can race. But it's really a fun weekend. It's a great weekend, and if you like, you can ride a motorbike.
Well, that's number 14. That's Bernie Andrews, 60 years of age, a former IMBA champion and British AMCA champion. Bernie's been around the block a bit, to say the least. As the rest of these over 50 Prix 77 riders come through, there's that Bull Tyco of 31 just going through, ridden by Jeff Arrowsmith. That's number 76 there, and that's the bike ridden, of course, by Peter Walker from Eastbourne. Very gingerly picks his way through. Someone's just rejoined the fray, as they say. As we pick up the action back there with bike, I think that's 551 just gone through there. Very, 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 very quickly, and that would be Tom Anderson. Well, here we are. This is the battle at the front. Hans Ron Hulewig, our friend who was born in Bavaria but now lives in Norway. He's in there with the top four. Bill Brown still leads. Here's Bernie Andrews, the portly figure of Bernie. 60 years of age, eh? There's hope for me yet. As the rest of the field come through, picking up the remaining places. You can see it is a little wet. We've got the odd drip of rain down at the moment on the camera lens, so let's hope it doesn't get any worse than this for tomorrow. That's the Sunday. So this is the Saturday, the first part of this Twin Shock Grand Prix 99 here at Hatherton Hall, Nantwich. And we should thank, there's Derek Emwell, he's back on his bike and going well again. We should thank the Nantwich Club, Bill McMinn and Bill Shaw, who have worked so hard along with all the other guys here at the Nantwich and Club that have done such a great job of preparing this circuit. And their hospitality is second to none. So Bill Brown still leads. There's Hans Holloweg back there in third place. This is the scrap further down, 175. I think that's Brian Little, if I'm not very much mistaken. Brian, a young man I actually used to ride against. So they're coming through. There's Bernie. Come on, Bernie. Going well, isn't he, for his age? He knows what it's like to win races. He had quite a bit of it in the past. That, I think, was a number 187, I think, on the side of that bike. A little bit obscured by the mud. That would be Roger Beard from High Peak. He's riding the Prix 77 class. That looks like number 57 there, and number 77. That's Ronald Carr with Henk van Lit, one of our riders from Holland, on that 77 bike behind him. And it's nice to have our friends over from Holland. We've got riders from all over the world here this weekend. America, Holland, Belgium, Sweden, oh, just about Italy, all over the place. So it's nice to have them all here with us. So there's that beautiful Bull Tyco. Well, not as clean as what it was on Friday night, but nevertheless, it's still going pretty well. Bull Tyco, of course, a name well associated with motocross and trials years ago. No longer in production, but this is the battle at the front. There's our friend Hans Ron Huleweg being pursued at the moment, I think, by 72, Ken Shuttleworth. Bill Brown is still there and still leads. Come on, Bill. Keeps telling me he's only 31, but I don't believe a word of it. 81 there, just flashing through our picture. Mark Davis, he's in the over 50s class. It's getting quite serious at the moment. These, despite the age of the bikes and some of the riders, they're taking their racing very seriously. As they say, once that gate drops, the red mist comes down and away they go. So a mixture of Prix 77 bikes here, plus the over 50s class. This is their first race of the day here on the Saturday. And it was Bill Brown, number 53, who led last time round, but I think he's now lost that lead because that looks like Hans Ron Huleweg that now leads. There's Bill down in fourth place now. Those arms and legs obviously now starting to tire just a little bit. The age is beginning to show. Oh, some big jumping stuff here from these bikes. They may be Prix 77, and some of these riders may be over the tender age of 50. But certainly they're going for it. So Hans Ron Huleweg taking the last lap flag there. Bill Brown dropping back now, I think, to about 5th place, or even 6th, it may seem. There's Bernie Andrews, number 14, former champion. And behind Bernie, can't quite see who that was, but nevertheless, they know who they are. There's Derek Elwell catching up after that fall in the opening lap. He's okay, which is good to know. Derek, of course, from DEP Exhausts. This looks like John Littler going through. 175, it is indeed. And John in the Prix 77 class, because I can assure you he's definitely not over the age of 50. So as they come through, so Hans-Ron Hulewig not winning that race, finishing I think in second or third. There's Bill Brown coming through, and he had a good race and enjoyed himself, and that's the main thing. Well, it was Richard White then that took the overall in the Prix 77, Hans-Ron Hulewig, Mark Cook, Tom Anderson and John Littler. In the over 50s it was Rob Harrison and Bill Brown, Derek Elwell, Mike Davis and Henk van der Lit. OK, so we move on now to our race 3, 4-stroke class this is. And a celebrity or two in this one, Dougal Cullen being one of them on bike number 28, so keep an eye out for him. Wait for the gate to drop, here it comes. Let's hope they all get safely through that right-hand drop, that first corner. This time we don't see a repeat of race 2, when somebody got a little over-enthusiastic with the throttle and the brake and lost it going into that right-hander. Here they come, who's it going to be that leads them through? Can't see from here, but number 61 is most definitely there in second place, and if that's the case it would be Andy Nurden. And Andy's certainly no slouch from yesteryear, that's for sure. So we're looking down the field as these 4-stroke bikes come through, 139 being amongst that group, just gone through our picture there. And according to my programme, that would be Rob Place on a Mako. So 43 just goes through there to complete his lap. And we're looking back behind him now. That was Dick Tett, incidentally, from Weatherby. It's 61 then that does indeed now lead. So Andy Nurden has got the legs on the rest of them in this race. They're all 4-stroke bikes, these are. 331, another one just going through there. There's a good old scrap going on down the field further behind him. And 331 there, ridden by David Sulked, he was, in actual fact. So we quickly scan through our programme to sort of check our riders, and this is a classic little battle here. Dougal Cullen, 28, leading Andy Nurden, 61. First and second in the 4-stroke class. It really is beginning to hot up just a little bit now as we pick up some of the remaining riders coming through the field. And this is number 34, and that, to my best knowledge, is Mick Hughes from Cheshire. 258, I think this is. Yes, indeed. I could just about read his number with all that mud that's on the front of the bike. That was David Lane. And the old battles are going on right down through the field. These guys might be, you know, into their, what they call their twilight years, some of them. I'm not quite how old you need to be into your twilight years, but 101, well, he's on a 4-stroke and he's just stalled the darn thing. I just hope it starts. That's Andy Wainwright from Staffordshire. Well, look at that, he kicked it up straight away. That's better than some of the modern 4-strokes start up when they're hot. So 323, he just goes through there to complete that little lineup, and not quite sure who that was. He doesn't seem to appear in my programme, but I'm sure he knows who he is. So it is that man, Dougal Cullen, that leads them through. 106 there, just goes over the hill here on the jump. That's Stephen Mitten. And scraps right down through the field. Track a little bit still tacky, a bit wet, but conditions pretty good. It's stopped raining, so looks like we're going to be on for a nice day here at Nantwich for tomorrow. 188 there, that all black bike of Stuart Eaps from Cheshire. It's a Yamaha in actual fact, but it's still Dougal Cullen that leads this, with Andy Nurden, number 61, chasing him desperately in second place. Well, the Nantwich track here holding up well under the wet conditions, and it usually does. Bob and the boys have worked very hard to manicure this circuit, and as you can see, I haven't seen a piece of uncut grass so far. So these 4-stroke riders are thundering around the Hatherton Hall circuit and enjoying every inch of it. I think that was 229 just going down the hill there, a bit obscured by the mud on his number plate, but it's there is the man that led that race to the checkered flag, Dougal Cullen, looking back for Nurden. And well, there's 188. Stuart Eaps from Cheshire on that Yamaha looks to have taken second. There's Nurden behind him in third. Well, there you go. That's the result of the first of these 4-stroke races here for this weekend. 87 coming through. That's Terry Moore from Sheffield. So then the result went to Dougal Cullum, Andy Nurden, Paul Feltham, and then Nigel Jameson and James Collins. Those were the top 6 finishers overall after the 2 days of racing. Race 4. This was the 250 class now. Predominantly 2 strokes, of course. Number 96 was amongst that group, and that's another one of our friends from Holland, Jan Hushen. And we caught up with Jan and Rob Schmollers and asked them about being here at this Twin Shock Grand Prix.
The track is very great. Got much several heights. In Holland we don't have several heights. We use to ride in the sand. The sand very much improved, and we don't have them here. But it's very great to ride here. I hope it's getting much better weather, but weather forecast is good.
So Jan Hushen there, going on about the fact that they don't have many jumps in Holland, where they have a lot of jumps here. So this is the 250 class then. They get underway with Jan Hushen, our friend from Belgium, in this race. Number 96, keep a lookout for him. It's number 35 then that leads them round for the first time. And that's Chris Elderfield. And the battles are on further down, as we see a mixture of machines going through here. Number 74 amongst that group. He's just gone through our picture, and that's Peter Austin. And we're looking a little bit further down the field. That's number 63, and that's Tim Davis. And behind Tim, it's a big class, this 250 class, a lot of riders. That's 213. That's Rick Stoney from Bradford on the Suzuki. There's number 177 going through our picture there, and that's Mark Sinnott from Preston. But it's this man that leads at the moment, number 35, and he's got this well and truly under control. Chris Elderfield with the rest playing catch-up. There is Jan Hushen, number 96, behind him at the moment. That looks like 109, which will be Andy Graham from Aldridge on the Honda, and it's getting all just a little bit frantic as these 250 boys battle for honours. Corner to corner. 74 there just flashing through our picture, and if I'm not very much mistaken, that of course was Peter Austin. 35 still it is the leader. We're looking back for second place. This looks like the man, number 62. That would be Chris Woodward from West Yorkshire, and behind him there is Jan Hushen, our friend from Belgium, and it's so nice to have the guys over. With he came along with Rob Smollers. 109 then, Andy Graham still in there. I think he's about 4th at the moment. And we're looking back behind him. Oh, it's 154. That's Paul Clark from Hearts. And that's got Rob Smollers, the other guy from Belgium that came along with Jan Hushen. And another good scrap on here, because that looks like 138. And that would be Kev Bratt from Crew. He's got 99 there right behind him. And if I'm not very much mistaken, that's Paul Leyland. So the race is certainly on. All the way down from Scotland, John Stokes there on the 250 Mako. And we're looking back behind them as the rest of the riders pick their way a little gingerly at times around the circuit here at Nantwich. You can see it's been cut up just a little bit. That's the Suzuki once again of 213. Oh, well, believe it or not, these bikes might be quite old, but they have restricted suspension travel in comparison to the new bikes that are on the tracks today. But it doesn't seem to deter these guys from launching them off the jumps here at Nantwich. That is Jan Hushen there, 96, just flashing through our picture. We'll look a bit further back down the field as they come over the tabletop at the bottom here, just before they head up Heartbreak Hill, which is what that's called. And the reason for that years ago, before Nantwich installed drainage into the lower part of the track, when it was wet like it is here today, if you got up there on the first lap, you generally won the race, because you were the only one that managed it. Hence the name Heartbreak Hill. Nevertheless, back to the racing and away from the memories of yesteryear. And it's all getting just a bit frantic out there, isn't it? 104 goes through there. That's Duncan Coley from Wordsley on a Honda. 35 is the man that heads up the hill, and he is, I think, the race leader at the moment. So 35, of course, Chris Elderfield. There is Jan Hushen, 96, We spoke to Jan earlier, and Jan having to acclimatise himself to the hills here, as he puts it, the jumps, as we would normally call them. Rob Schmaller's there, number 30. It's his friend from Belgium. They travelled together, and it's nice to have them with us. Of course, in Belgium, it's more sand than it is hills, because it's very flat, of course. But our Dutch riders and our Belgian riders and our riders from around the world handling the conditions here at the Nantwich circuit very, very well. 167 there, goes through to complete another lap. George Wilson, all the way down from Scotland, as they say. A few of the Scottish lads turned out to be here with us this weekend. It's nice to have them with us. So as this 250 race reaches its climax, number 35 is the man then that takes the checkered flag. And it wasn't the only one that he took. 213, Rick Stoney there coming in behind him. And Jan Huschen, our friend from Belgium, coming through to finish the first race. But it was Chris Elderfield then that took the overall result from Chris Woodward, Terry Moore, Paul Clark and Richard May, rounding out the top 5th overall positions. Race 5 then, this was our over 40s class. Yes, indeed. There were 1 or 2 riders here this weekend that admitted that they were over the age 31, including myself. We went into the paddock earlier and caught up with one of our international riders from America.
Richard Irstead, and I'm from the States, California to be exact. Yeah. And Bill invited me over to this. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a lot of fun.
Tell us exactly, I mean, you come from California, but whereabouts?
I'm in Temecula, California. It's kind of the hotbed right now. All the young kids, motocross, everybody knows about. Emig and McGrath and Lusk and all those guys live right around that little area, and I just happen to be an old guy that lives there too.
Now tell us, what's your claim to fame from yesteryear then?
I just being an old guy and living this long after racing motorcycles for a lot of years. If you live this long and you're still riding, you're a hero because people can't believe you're still around.
Thing is, I mean, you've been invited, you come across, and you've got a little bit of flu as well at the moment, I understand. You're not feeling quite 100% on par.
Yeah, that's true. I was a little bit sick before I left, but Bill invited me last year, and I was going to come, and my girlfriend got real sick. And so I felt bad that I couldn't come last year. And then 2 days before I left, I got sick. And I just refused to. I figure I'll be healthy as I get here. So I'm just looking forward to it. You know, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, unfortunately, due to his health condition on the day, Rich eventually didn't take part in the racing. But it was nice to have him here, and we look forward to seeing him again next year. This time a little healthier than he has been for the last 2 years. Oh, well, here we go. The over 40s race got underway, and we're waiting to see who it was that led them round that first corner. And here they come. It's 82 then. That's the man in the lead. That's Barry Stoyle. And behind him, I think that was number 50, Jack McEwen from Leeds. That's 241 there. And that's Dave Gamble. We're looking a little bit further down the field. Number 72 there going through our picture. That's Ken Shuttleworth. We caught up with Bill Brown trackside and asked him what his excuse was for failing to win race 1.
The hands gave up, Ken. we tried, didn't we? That's life.
That's an excuse, is it, Bill? I don't know. Darren Hudson there right beside him.
No.
The man very much behind this Twin Shock Grand Prix, and of course the talking point Twin Shock as well. Darren Dewsbury, the man from Talking Point. Meanwhile, we're back to our over 40s class here, and the race is most certainly on as 118 goes flying through our picture just then. And that was Andrew Usher. 26, he's in there. Derek Cook from Oxford. Believe you me, these lads might be just over the tender age of 40, but there's plenty of fight left in them yet. They've still got what it takes to race motocross, which is more than I can say for me. 82 here. He's the man at the moment, looks to be leading this one. Barry Stoyle from Dartmouth, riding a Mako. Well, there's no surprise, is it really? Number 91, he's back there behind him. That's Keith Sylvester from Huddersfield, one of 2 brothers. And 118 also in amongst that group as well. And that's, again, Andrew Usher. So it's all pretty hit and miss out there at the moment for some of them. as they all slot into their little places. 54 amongst that group. He's having a pretty good race of that and enjoying himself thoroughly. That's Richard Paul from Yeovil. Well, they head off right on the track again, and it's holding up well, the track here at Hatherton Hall. 127 just goes through there, picks his way slowly towards the downhill leap. That's Niall Bell. And another little scrap going on here. Looks like 153 and 44. And that's the case. That's Brian Atkinson. And 153, of course, is our old mate, Steve Louth from Portsmouth. Here's the battle at the front. It's still Barry Stoyle at the moment from 51, Alan Cook, and 50, Jack McEwen. He's still in there, third place. These three have been going at it lap after lap after lap. They haven't given it up at all. And it's much the same right down through the field. They're all having their, whoa, big slide there. 118 it was, the man that had that bike hanging out quite desperately on that corner. All the way from East Yorkshire, Andrew Usher. So we're looking back behind Andrew, pick up some of our other riders coming through. And they have in fact found themselves quite a nice little line. Number 26 there, and he's staying well on line at the moment. Derek Cook, the man aboard the bike, as 115 comes over the hill. Richard Dutton, and Richard from Grantham. Oh, another big slide there. It is a bit tacky at the top end of the track there, so they're having a little bit of difficulty hooking up pace. 127 there, that was Niall Bell from Lisburn. As we look further down, 44, Brian Atkinson from Slough. Brian, another one of the major players in the organisation of this Twin Shock Grand Prix. This is the battle at the front. It's still 82. Barry Stoyle at leads from 51, Alan Cook. And here's someone that's a little further down the field. I'm not sure whether that was 98 or 198. Not enough room on some of these bikes for all the numbers. 91 there, that's one of the riders just going through our picture, Roger Vinnell from Sussex. And we're looking, 72 just goes through our picture. Well, according to his shirt, that's Ken Shuttleworth. 153 here, and that's Steve Louth. 41, that's John Sinnott. I used to race against John. Well, they're all waiting now for the leader to come through. 44, here it is, that's Brian Atkinson. And there is the race leader going through to take the checkered flag. Number 82, Barry Stoyle, the winner then from number 51. And that's, of course, Alan Cook. There's number 50, Jock McEwen coming through in third place. And 241, fourth place for that man, Dave Gamble. So the results of the over 40s class, Jock McEwen then taking the overall win, Barry Stoyle, John Williams, Peter Lightfoot and Alan Cook rounding up the top five. Okay, race 6. This was the open class. And again, one or two celebrities in this race. 46 there, that was Gareth Noble. 321 was David Sulkeld from County Durham. 47 there, directly in your picture, was Rob Foden. Now, any of you that remembers motocross from yesteryear, when it was called scrambling, you'll know the name of Rob Foden. Here they go then, all safely at the moment through that opening right-hand turn. Who's it going to be? It's Rob Foden then that leads them round. Rob Foden, the man at the front. We're looking back behind, and number 59 is the man there, Martin Russell, back in about 4th. Number 20 gets amongst that group as well, and that's Dougie Mercer. So we're looking further down the field. 321, the man that we mentioned just a little bit earlier, David Sulkeld, just gone through. 37, or was that 137? So difficult to tell with some of these number plates. If it was 137, it was Steve Owen. Oh, doesn't he look like Hulk Hogan? 83 then that comes through in this group at the moment. That's Bill Bruce. I'm looking back behind Bill, that looks like number 55, and that will be Phil Ryan. And there is our race leader, number 47, Rob Foden. And as you can see in this open class, it's all just a little bit frantic. The red mist has come down. 56 there, flashes through our picture, and that is Steve Furse from Bristol. And there really is a titanic scrap going on further down the field. 181 Keith Best was amongst that group. Somebody's gone out here. Bill Brown getting the bike off the track. Looks like number 20 that's gone out, Dougie Mercer. 55, Phil Ryan going through. Here's Rob Foden once again. The race leader is this second place man behind him. I think it's 137 on the side of that bike. As I said, these Steve Owens, if it is, these bikes, the number plates on them weren't really equipped to take numbers over 100. Or is it now that the numbers are bigger than the number plates that they stick them on? Well, whatever. It's a bit crammed for space, as they say. It really is getting a bit... That's number 60, and he goes through. He's enjoying himself for sure. And that's Peter Campbell. Looking further down the field. See if we can pick up one or two names that we know from yesteryear. 100 there goes through. That's Tim Wadman from Dorset. Here's the race leader, Rob Foden. Second place man, it still is number 55, Phil Ryan, and 137. Third place for Steve Owen. Looking a little bit further down the field, that looked like 125. He just went through the corner. I'm quite sure who that is at the moment. Oh, it's old Craig Elwell. So the younger of the Elwell crew that's here this weekend. 56 there, he goes through. Steve Furs. And we're looking back behind Steve, that's number 80. And that's Nick Garton from Leicestershire. So you can still see that track conditions are a little bit sticky. Number 60 there. And that's Peter Campbell again. But here is Foden. We're looking back for the man in second place. It was 55. Oh, we've got a change. Owen has gone through to second. So that means 55. Phil Ryan is now back in third. 125. Well, he looks to be up to fourth now. So that's a good scrap going on there. That's Craig Elwell. Big slide there. Track still a bit sticky, a bit tacky. But the boys managing to hold on to these bikes well. 181 there, just going through Keith Best. And we're looking back behind Keith. Good old scrap going on further down the field. A lot of these riders have come here not just to have a race, but to have a ride and to enjoy themselves for 2 days and meet a lot of old friends that they raced with many, many years ago. And that's what this Twin Shock Grand Prix is all about. 139 there, just going through our picture, and that's Rob Place. This indeed looks like 113, and if it is, that should be Andrew Pritt. Winding up the power on these old bikes. They are really enjoying themselves out there. Let's hope that tomorrow's weather brings a little sunshine. Last lap flag is out. We're looking for Foden, number 47, Rob Foden. And that looks indeed like Rob Foden. Big, enormous leap over that jump there. You wouldn't think that these are old bikes. So it's Rob Foden then that's going to take race one win, and he even does a wheelie. So Owen coming home in second place on the 137 bike. Then it looks like Elwell on the 125 bike. A good old scrap on there, I think, for fourth place. Yeah, there's no older these boys back, is there? Number 55 then. It looks a little bit shattered after that, and I'm not at all surprised. And that was, of course, Phil Ryan. So after the 2 days, the overall result went like this. Craig Elwell, Rob Foden, Walter Brickmore, Steve Owen and Keith Best were the top 5 in this open class. Well, back in the old days, you didn't have such luxuries as power washers. You had to do it like this, with a screwdriver. And generally used to get the wife, the girlfriend or some other unsuspecting member of your family to clean the mud off your bike, which is what she's doing now. Well, the Twin Shock Grand Prix was all about old bikes, and there were plenty here and plenty of bits to pick up to put on your old bike. And if you wanted to build one, you basically started off like this, with a frame and a set of wheels. All you needed now was the engine, and there it is. And I just hope they can put that together ready for the races. Well, there's a few more bits if you want some as well. A bit of an auto sale. Our friends from Vintage Motocross magazine were here. A lot of interest in the magazine. It's now being distributed throughout the world, Australia, New Zealand, America. A lot of interest in old bike racing. Boyd's Toys, as it says there. Rob Boyd. Here's possibly a future champion. Maybe not modern motocross, but Twin Shock racing. And maybe Mum doesn't agree. We thought we'd put a bit of glamour in the programme, so here she is. Well, Nowadays you tweak it with computers. Back in the old days you just gave it a quick squirt of WD-40. That's the Swedish Husqvarna. Bill Brown ready for action?
You ready for action? Ready? Ken, I was born ready.
A gentleman for sure. Bill Brown then readies himself for his race. Oh, Keith Ree.
I always have fun. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't going to have fun. I think it's brilliant.
Have you never not thought you're too old?
I'll be too old when I can't ride, I think.
Oh, Keith Ree, a former Superclass AMCA champion, and gives the old bike a good flooding of fuel. The question now is, will it start? No fancy starters on these bikes. Left-hand side, as you can see, as versed to the modern Japanese bike with a kickstart on the right-hand side. It will go, Keith. I assure you it will start. You just keep kicking. Let's hope it will start before the end of the day. Ah, here's another future Twin Shock champion. What's he seen? What's he pointing at? He's pointing at that, number 15. That's the bike of Jeff Mays, the Kawasaki. Jeff, of course, better known for the Kawasaki off-road training schools. Well, as our international riders came down onto the line for the first of their races, and that was number 9. That's Mick Ashford from West Midlands. And the man beside him with a big smile on his face is, of course, Darren Hudson. Well, that's Phil Small's bike, number 23, the 4-stroke Yamaha. We dived into the paddock and talked to one of our international visitors from Norway, Hans Ron Hulwig.
Yes, my name is Hans Holvig. I am born in Bavaria, drive motocross since 1976, and live now since 7 years in Norway.
Well, now, I mean, you come across here to the Twin Shock Grand Prix. I mean, what do you think of it?
Well, very nice atmosphere, I have to say. Quite surprised. Everybody very friendly, which is not the standard anymore nowadays on the modern motocross. And, well, I will come back next year, if possible, because it was a couple of friends.
Well, that's glad to know. Here's the bike of number 78. That's Herman van Lit. And we spoke to Herman and his brother in the paddock a little earlier.
You know, for the 3rd year by the Twin Shock GP here in England. I'm invited from Bill Brown, who is one of the organizers here of the GP for the Twin Shocks. And he's a friend of mine because we do a lot of business with each other, but even we are friends. So he's crazy about the Twin Shock. And he said, Herman, you must come to race in England. And I have done it for 3 years ago. And now, last year we were here, and now again. And we like it very much.
Well, it's nice to hear those words from our friends from Holland. Well, this is Richard Hopalong Halsey. Despite his injury, he decided he was definitely going to come to this Twin Shock Grand Prix. Good old Richard. Number 16. This is the presentation of the top international riders. Number 16 there, that's Billy Edwards. And Billy, definitely no slouch. 0 on the side of that bike. Little confusion. That's Randy Owen from Hereford. Now, top 70s rider. Also the sponsor of Mark Loran, the Speedway rider. That, of course, is number 14, and that's Bernie Andrews. And Bernie, 60 years of age. Number 11 here. Well, if those of you that have been following motocross for many, many years, you'll know who that is. Neil Hudson, former World 250 motocross champion. 23, coming down to the line on that Yamaha, Phil Small. Beautifully turned out bike that was, and really did go well in the races. So as we present our top riders to the crowd, and we had quite a good crowd here. Lovely sunny day here on the Sunday. Steve Howe trying to run me over, number 2 on the 4-stroke. Steve's always trying to run me over. He's not the only one, there's plenty else to do as well. Peter Matthew here, the current Twin Shock champion. We asked Peter before the race how he fancied his chances against the internationals, and could he win?
I would think so, yeah. I've not met or seen a few of them ride, so they're a bit unknown to me. We'll just have to see how it goes. But tomorrow's the main day. Today's just for playing.
Because you've been riding Makos for so many years, even my memory can't go back that far.
End of '83, yes, I started. But I had them, it was the very first new bike I ever bought, was 71, and I was on them for 3 years then. Then I had a 1 year in 77, and then from 83 to now. So it's quite a few years, yeah.
Must be a good bike, Pete, because I mean you keep winning championships on it, or is it just your youthful body?
No, my body's definitely not youthful anymore, Kenny. No, they're a very good bike. It just shows how good they were in 1981, really, because I can go out with modern bikes and still give them a showing. So it just shows how good the bike was actually then. Yeah.
You're saying that, I mean, we saw Mako, they sort of started to make a bit of a comeback at Grand Prix level, and it sort of fizzled out a little bit, didn't it?
I think that was down to riders as well. You've got to have a rider that wants to do it. And the trouble is, everyone's Japanese orientated, and they think unless they're on a Japanese bike, they can't do it. But I don't think it's true, because KTM's have proved that now.
So true. Words spoken. And this, number 15, the Kawasaki rider, Jeff Mays. And for those of you that can remember back to the days of 70s scrambling, you'll remember his brother, Freddie Mays. Well, the crowd now adoring some of these bikes. And so they should. We're on to the international group now. This is the American from California, Rich Ironstead. And this is the man who almost won that 1993 World 500cc Motocross Championship, Jürgen Nielsen. We asked Jürgen how he was enjoying our visit to the Twin Shock Grand Prix.
Oh, it's really nice out there. It's a fun track, and I enjoy riding on these old bikes. It's a complete different thing to a modern bike, but it's pretty good.
Now, I mean, you overcame a very bad injury a few years ago. You broke your back, and you basically got no feeling in your legs to speak of. I mean, how difficult is it to sort of re-ride a bike with that kind of injury?
I kind of got used to it. When I started riding bike after my injury, it caused a lot of problems. I have difficulty to feel when I was shifting because I had bad feeling, and also when braking I had difficulties, but I'm getting used to it. Now it's going good, and but some problems sometimes.
93, winner at Hawkstone Park overall, World Championship in your grip. It all went sadly wrong with mechanical breakdowns. Disappointing year for you.
Yeah, of course. I won a lot of heats that year, 12 heats I think, but I still lost the championship. And it was just small things happening, and I lost too many points on DNFs. But that's the way it is. That's racing. It's.
Well, after that injury, we asked Jürgen what his intentions were.
My goal after my injury was all the time to come back and ride motocross again, because I love it. And when I got on the bike the first time after my injury, it was a great feeling. And from then on, I've been riding a lot. Not as fast as before, but I'm having a lot of fun, and that's the main thing, have fun. And it's great practice to ride motocross. The whole body is just perfect physiotherapy. It's very good.
Celebrities from other forms of motorcycle sport were here as well. Barry Briggs, and Bill Brown reckons he's got a body of a 16-year-old.
I think he's got it wrong. A 16-year-old heart with a 64-year-old body.
Barry, I mean, what are you doing yourself nowadays?
Oh, I do a bit on the speedway, bit of promotions, and I make the dirt deflector that goes on the back of the speedway bikes, which everybody uses in the Grand Prix, and we're trying to improve that. So I've still got a big interest in the motorbikes, but you know, I'm not around them quite as much as what I obviously used to when I used to race for a living.
Well, it was nice to have Barry with us here for the weekend, and a great name in speedway racing. Well, as the international riders came down onto the line, there's Peter Mayfield, number 1. Number 21 slots in there, and that's Sammy Doble from Yeovil. Number 6, this is Sam Turkin from Ireland, followed by Phil Small, number 23. Number 5 there, Jeff Leaney, another lad from Ireland. So we had them from Ireland, Sweden. There's Jürgen Nielsen. And remember, that man can feel hardly anything below his waist. Well, hello, Peter. Is he going to be number 1 at the end of today, I wonder? We'll wait and see. So Jürgen's, that's his main rival, Jürgen Nielsen. Steve Howe, number 2 on the 4-stroke, Husqvarna. He'll have a smile for us in just a moment when he realises that I've got the camera on him. There it is, he knows. Jeff Mays on that number 15 Kawasaki. As we look down the field, 96, that is the man beside him, and that's, of course, our friend Jan Hushin. 5-second board spins around, the gate drops then on our first international race of the weekend. Here they come, and it looks like number 4, Is it number 4 that's got the whole shot? Jorgen Nielsen, it is Nielsen that's got the whole shot. Where is Mathia? 22, he's in there as well. That's Kevin Reid. Mathia went through in about 4th place. There's Phil Small, number 23 on the 4-stroke Yamaha. These are the international boys. And it is the Swede, Jorgen Nielsen, that leads. We're looking back for 2nd place. And it is 22 at the moment. Kevin Reid, Mathia is in there. So is Jeff Mays. And so is number 32. That's Mark Fulton. There is number 13 going through, Ken Nerden. He had young Jan Hushen there in front of him. Number 8, that's Stuart Sims. So it's all very quick and rapid at the front with his international boys. Number 6, Sam Turkin going through from Ireland. That looks like Geraint Jones beside him on the Enduro bike. Now, Geraint turned up here to have a look at what was going on here and liked it so much he asked if he could have a ride. And they found him a bike. But here's the man that leads the field at the moment here in race 1. It's the Swede, Jorgen Nielsen. There is Peter Mathia right on the case of number 22, Kevin Reid. And they've lost none of their old aggression, have they? Mathia pushing or trying to push his way through. 13 going through there once again, Ken Nerden. Oh, I can believe you me, mate. They might be over the age of 21, some of these riders, but they've still got the fire. 32. Man with the fire, Mark Fulton. There's 96 going through. Again, it's our friend from Belgium there. And that's, of course, Jan Hushen. So his friend Rob Smoller's number 30 out in this race as well. But there's the man that leads. And look at the gap now. Mathia up into 2nd place. Can Mathia catch the Swede, Jorgen Nielsen? And Jeff Mays is in there as well. Jeff Mays has moved up to 3rd on the Kawasaki number 15. So Maisie, he's no slouch on the bike. And look at that gap. It's beginning to shorten between 1st and 2nd as they come up Heartbreak Hill. It's still the Swede that leads, Nielsen. It's Mathia, the reigning Twin Shock champion and former British 125 champion on the Mako in 2nd place. And Mako 1 and 2 at the front. And that's Steve Howe. And 27, Keith Reid. Former AMCA top class rider, Keith was. Steve Howe at the moment. Not sure whether he was chasing number 18, Steve Harrison there. Looked like Steve Harrison. Now there is Steve Harrison, and that's Keith Reid behind him. So there's Howe. Can't quite see the man that's sandwiched between them. There's 32, and that's, of course, Mark Fulton as they come up over Heartbreak Leap here. Head off towards the downhill jump. There's Keith Reid, 27, but the first international race went to that man, Jorgen Nielsen. What a race that was. Well, there's Pete Mathia's daughter, Emma, and Peter taking race 2. So it was 1 apiece, 1 for Peter and 1 for Jorgen Nielsen. So it was all about race 3 here in this International Twin Shock Grand Prix. Could Mathia beat that man to take the overall honours, or was it going to be Nielsen? Here we go, International Race 3, the gate dropped, and it was Nielsen who led them away. Mathia was back in about 3rd. But it didn't last for long because in his eagerness to win the race, Jorgen Nielsen crashed on the first lap, breaking his collarbone. So it was now left for Peter Mathia to take up the running here at the restart of race 3, and here they came. Who could put Mathia under pressure? 32 again, he was in there, Mark Fulton. Who's it going to be that came round first? And it was, well, believe it or not, it was number 28, and that was Dougal Cullen. Leading this international class, Dougal Cullen was out there in front. What a ride from him. Mathia was there, was Harrison, number 18. They were watching on, the crowd were loving this. Where was Mathia? And the answer was back in about 3rd. What can he do about the men in front? Dougal Cullen looks over his shoulder, could see Mathia and Steve Howe there. He puts his hand up and says, go on guys, you can have it. Keith Reid with the Kawasaki behind him of Jeff Mays. Then it was number 22, Kevin Reid. Another good scrap on here. Jan Hushen, number 96 from Belgium. It really was getting a bit frantic out there at one stage or another. It was a shame that Jorgen Nielsen had crashed. He had confirmed broke his collarbone. There's Bernie Andrews, number 14, the 60-year-old Bernie Andrews. Former IMBY champion, British AMCA champion. What can you say more about that man? He's a legend. But here's the battle at the front. Another legend, I should think, in the future is the man in 2nd place, number 1, Peter Mathia. climbing all over the bike in front, which I think was Mark Fulton. There's Jeff Mays back in third. Let's have a look, see who it is that's at the front. We know it's Mather in second. Trying to get a quick glimpse of that bike. It's one of the Makos. No, it's Mather then that leads. Mather leads as they go up the other side of Heartbreak. Steve Howe back in third. Jeff Mays is fourth. It really was a scrap all the way down through. There's Key 3, number 27. There is number 6. That's Sam Turkin from Ireland. There is Bernie Andrews, and Bernie was up there mid-pack and battling for positions. So it was Mather. Then I think it was 22. Kevin Reid that was second. Then it looked as if it was the number 2 bike of Steve Howe behind him, the big thundering Husqvarna 4-stroke. So as they drop down the far side of the circuit again, Peter Mather on course to take the overall result here of this Twin Shock Grand Prix sponsored by Wulfsport. It was 32, not 22. I was right the first time. It was Mark Fulton that was back there in second place. You can't mistake Jeff Mays, can you, on that Kawasaki? Here they come up the hill. Still Mather leading, 32 Fulton. Steve Howe was closing in on Fulton. The big thundering 4-stroke looking to take second place here at the last international race of the day. Jeff Mays was still back there in 4th place, very much on his own at the moment on the Kawasaki. Then it was Steve Harrison, number 18. Steve from Leicestershire. Having a good ride and enjoying himself for sure as we looked across the field as the number 15 Kawasaki of Jeff Mays went over that jump. And when you consider the age of these bikes and some of the riders that are on them, they're certainly getting well up in the air. The last lap flag is out as number 9 comes through. That's Mick Ashford from the West Midlands. Looking back behind him, there is Rob Smaulers, number 30. Another one of our Belgian friends. Nice to have them with us. We're looking across. That's Geraint Jones, 7 times British Enduro champion, who just came to have a watch and decided, hey, I want to have a go at this. And indeed he did. So we look across now, we're waiting for the race leader, and there he is, and it's, listen to the crowd, they're going mad. Peter Mather with all his family here cheering on for him, number 32, second place, Mark Fulton from Workington. And Mark would very much like to take the win, but I don't think Mather is going to let him. Here's Peter, looks over his shoulder, does a wheelie. So Mather wins the last race of the day. Fulton second. Steve Howe, I think it is, that's going to come through and take 3rd place. Indeed it is. Another wheelie from Steve on the 4-stroke. Well, what a round up today. 4th place for Jeff Mays. Looking back behind Jeff, that's number 22 going through, Kevin Reid. Looking back to Kevin Reid, not sure. I think that was Key 3 back there behind him. And Steve Harrison going through. Well, we headed up towards the presentation. There's Emma again, Pete Matthew's daughter. Number 6 coming through. There, Sam Turkin from Ireland. Sam saying, hey, I hope you got the score. Look where I finished. There's the trophies, sponsored by Heliofix, and what a lovely bunch of trophies they were. There's the man that's going to take the number 1 trophy. And what did Bill Brown think of the great weekend we had?
Cracking weekend. You know, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the result. Pete just can't stop winning, can he? You know, it's brilliant. But that's Pete. Pete just races everything. Pete will be racing the bloody van home there, Ken. So, no, great. Loved it, yeah.
So the result then of the Frank Merson Son International class, Peter Mather, Mark Fulton, Steve Howe, Jeff Mays and Key 3. I hope you've enjoyed our Twin Shock racing. Thanks to the Nantwich Club, Bill Shaw and Bob McMinn for providing such great facilities. Join us next year for more of the same. Make sure you're there.